Hello.
Hello.
Happy day after 14th.
July.
Hey, Coach DJ from Infinity TV. What do you think is going to be your measure of success for tonight going into this game against the defending champs?
Yeah, certainly, we're trying to continue to grow. So part of it is evaluating our growth through slippage, through execution on both sides of the ball. That growth, as we always talk about, wins and losses take care of themselves. We've got to worry about the process and what we're trying to accomplish. And from the scouting report going into the game, how is that? How are we handling execution throughout the game? And looking at the slippage and trying to have less and less slippage on both sides of the ball throughout the game.
Thank you.
Coach, you just got Crystal Dangerfield, a guard, added 7-day contract. What does she provide that you're looking for in the guard play on the team?
Yeah, excited that Crystal has joined us. Obviously, is navigating her new normal in this league and trying to find the right fit. She's a former Rookie of the Year, a guard that can score at multiple levels, certainly a capable three-point shooter, a very good pull-up jump shooter, someone else that can run offense, and can defend and get up into people. So we're excited about Crystal. The thing with our roster that it now allows to do is to use Laysia Clarendon in a versatile wing and a versatile guard position and give us even more depth that way. Obviously, Laysia had a really, really good year off the point guard position last year. So added ball handling, added defensive pressure. I'm excited that Crystal's here, and never easy with anyone in 7-day contract. A lot is thrown at them in a very quick period, but just our day and a half with her, she's a pro and just trying to find her new home. And so we're excited about this 7-day contract.
Coach, what type of effort do you want to see just right out the gate, and how do you want the team to respond if, the Aces make a run? And just the fact of talking about just, not only how do you want to see them play in the beginning, but how do you want to see them play at the end of the game as well?
Yeah, certainly, for those that have been around me here in a year and a half, and we talk about back-to-backs, it is not atypical in our league for teams on a back-to-back to start really strong. They're coming right off of a game. They have a little bit more flow already. And you see time and time again, teams start well coming off back-to-backs. So we've got to be ready for that cannon effect as I talk about teams coming out. We've got to match that right from the tip. We've got to go right at them in this first quarter and have the energy that is needed. In terms of responding to runs, this league is a league of runs, and our team knows that. Despite our youth, they're experienced that. We won last time out against Vegas, and we were down 14-0, if you want to speak about runs, and 16-2. And we found a way that second half of that first quarter to respond and have our run back at them. And you felt much better about yourself at the end of the first quarter. It's composure, through runs. That's the thing. You've got to step up and make plays defensively to stop runs, but you also can stop runs by executing and having an efficient offensive possession or two, and runs can be, stopped. So there's got to be a composure, and I think that's the big word for our team. As we've seen some teams really turn it up pressure-wise, turn up their focus at us in the fourth quarter, is can we stop these runs quicker, both with offensive execution or a big defensive stop? But composure is a big word that we've been talking about.
Thank you.
Hey, Curt. Sorry, this is a little off topic, but with De'Erica going to Paris next month, is there anything, I guess this month, is there anything that you guys can do to help her with that different style of basketball as you work with her, over these next few weeks?
Yeah, it's hard for the 3-on-3 WNBA players because they're playing 5-on-5 and they're in the midst of this cadence of games. So Sabrina, I don't know how we can help that other than she's playing great basketball and she's playing very confidently. And so if I called Jen Rosati up and said, is there anything I could do? I would bet she would just tell me, keep her confident. And she's certainly playing that way. She talked about wanting to be an all-star and some lofty goals, individual goals coming into this year. And she's really earned that. You know, she's a top 10 vote getter, you know, for the upcoming all-star game. And it's just a real credit to her of the way she's played throughout the year.
Coach, back here.
Yep.
What were some of the things that Lee was able to do defensively in the last meeting versus the Aces that was so well?
Yeah, you know, Lee is a very underrated defender in space. You know, it's when we put Lee on Wilson, Becky has, you know, in these first couple games, run immediate plays for her and put her in pin downs and staggers and put her in space. And Lee is better in space than people realize. And so, you know, she's done a really good job all year, not just against Vegas. As people try to isolate her, try to put her on the perimeter and put her in space, you know, she's a much better defender in those situations than people realize. She can be big and long around the rim. You know, her challenge in a game like this is the discipline around the rim, not the foul, but her physicality, her size can really help us at the rim. And again, we have confidence in space, you know, when she has to switch onto a guard, maybe an emergency and not even a scheme that we were hoping for. But, you know, there's going to be moments in the game tonight that we're all going to see that Vegas is going to try to get Wilson in a space against her. And it'd be a great matchup and a great challenge for Lee.
Hey, Coach, to go back to your point about composure, we talked about a lot about frustration and how we want the vets to step up when they get frustrated. How are you helping the vets kind of do that? And then as a coach, how are you dealing with your frustration?
Yeah, my composure is probably worse than the players right there. So, no, in all seriousness, you know, like it starts at the top. You know, I've been through builds everywhere I've been. And my frustration at times isn't as much at times with them. It's frustrating that I can't help them more. I just feel really defeated at times with myself that like this is not new to me, building teams and understanding what you go through with teams, but I feel like I haven't always pushed the right buttons for them. And there's a lot of new people in that locker room. There's a lot of new people to the way we're playing. We've scaled it back because we're so young. So I'm, you know, I gotta lead with composure. But I'm frustrated with myself that I haven't been able to push more buttons for them that give them more confidence, give them more success. As for the veterans, you know, again, communication is really important, and they got to find that balance where our standards are being upheld and our veterans in that locker room understand that more, where it's just not good enough. And, you know, challenging ourselves to raise our level and balancing them now when people need a pat on the back and everybody's going through this. Everybody goes through this. Everybody has growing issues and everybody has slippage and makes mistakes. So the veterans in that locker room, you know, are challenged to find that balance where there's times when the coaches need the players, especially the veterans, to huddle them and have a coach, you know, player only, you know, good talk on our standards have got to be higher. You know, we've got to raise our level right here, but also the encouragement and the grace to allow some of these guys to make mistakes. But composure starts with me. And I haven't always modeled that in this build season. I'm real good, you know, like outside of the 2 hours during the game, but I want it so bad for them to feel more success because we're playing with the situation that we have, the hand that we're dealt. the preseason injuries, then we get into season injuries and illnesses. With the hand that we're dealt, we're playing solid basketball in stretches. It's just not consistent enough, long enough to equate into wins. But I'm encouraged about where this group can go. It's LA shouldn't be patient. The fan base is probably frustrated and impatient, and I completely understand that. But I want them to stick with us. And so many have through thick and thin. There's a process, and you look at some of the teams that around the league that have built through the draft. Vegas had 3 number ones and still needed Chelsea Gray, to really help get them to where they are today. Indiana sits out of the playoffs as we speak. They have a 2 and 2 number ones back to back, joining Kelsey Mitchell, and they're still in a build. So, like anyone that takes a look at our league and watches teams build through the draft, it takes some time. And so, I'm just going to keep plugging with this group. I see a lot of bright spots. Unfortunately, we know we're in a losing streak and it's not equated into wins this year, but the hand we're dealt, we're going to keep grinding and battling. And that locker room is together. That locker room believes in each other. We have De'Erica, who just resigned and is very vocal about being a champion to bring other great players to join her and our young group. So bright days are ahead. It's not always easy to navigate through the cloudy days, but bright days are ahead.
Last question.
Coach, offbeat question. You have the distinct honor of representing America during the Olympics on the women's basketball staff. What does the 4th of July mean to you, and how did you spend your 4th?
Watching film, of course. I literally was watching Vegas when the damn thing didn't freeze last night for anyone I was watching. Watching Vegas without my window, seeing the fireworks in Redondo last night, so I could see that from my place, was in kind of a neat, like just by myself as I typically am watching film, but had fireworks in the past. It's a humbling honor to represent your country. I had the unique opportunity when I transitioned into the league, was put on that selective, exclusive national team selection committee of 5 people, being surrounded by, Gino, Carol Callan, who is the director of USA Basketball, Katie Smith was representing former players, Bethany Donovan from the league, just an exclusive group. And for 5 years was on that committee where we picked the World Cup team in 2018 that won a gold medal, and then the 2020 Olympic team, which turned into the 2021 Olympic team. And then I transitioned more onto the bench. And since, that Olympics in 21, have transitioned with USA Basketball onto the bench and have been onto the bench. But, as we know, there's 2 WNBA coaches, 2 collegiate coaches. And during the World Cup gold medal of 2022, and now the upcoming Paris Olympics, I'm the lead scout for the USA team. It's just a humbling honor to be around. It's a humbling honor to serve with Cheryl Reeve and how much collaborative she is with her assistant coaches and staff. There's nothing better than being around other bright minds. I get to be around Mike Tebow and Tanisha Wright and myself, and then, up and coming, superstars at the collegiate level, and Kara Lawson and Joni Taylor. Just really humbling. It feels like good old, when you started in this game, you went to camp to be around other coaches. And so to me, every time I'm with USA Basketball, it just feels like a summer camp, because you're around bright minds and we get to talk the game, and we get to, laugh, and we joke and have adult beverages and, all that. So, I can't wait, like the World Cup got me out of the depression of the 2022 finals loss. It was my 2nd time in the finals, 4th time in the semifinals or finals in a row, and couldn't get to the finish line. In less than 48 hours, I'm flying to Australia to represent your country. It shakes you back into reality of how blessed you are. I am going to be going to the Olympics, and just really, really honored to represent our country. Thank you.
Thank you.